Ramirez of the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where we work together to elevate your grappling and keep real wrestling alive. So actually, we got a lot of little like updates and stuff that we kind of want to go over. One of the things, actually, also one of the things is like I'm not in my usual location. I just wanted to record something just to just kind of keep the ball rolling with podcast stuff. Uh, it's just had to be out of town, so I wanted to try to find some place where we can at least record something for everyone. But besides that, we're going to be on break at UCLA. So our UCLA class is going to be on spring break right now, so that'll be off for a couple of weeks, but then we'll be back, and that seems to still be growing, and we're having more and more people become interested in catch wrestling. But for those of you who are not UCLA students, you can come to train with us at Fight Science MMA. That's in Los Angeles. It's the area called Mid City. That area is basically right in the middle of the city. Like if you kind of mentioned it before, it's right. If you know the Los Angeles area, it is right near the 10 freeway, right in the middle of the city, basically. So it should be pretty easy to find. If you want to come train with us, we're there Thursday nights. Uh, so also too, if you're nowhere near the West Coast or even the East Coast of the United States, so the East Coast, you want to go train with my good buddy John Strickland, and then if you're nowhere near either of us, you feel free to uh, try our online like CWA Academy. That is through our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. The thing about that is that it has a really cool new function. So we have this community app. So it works kind of like if you're familiar with like Discord, where you can have your own. Like we call it like in Discord they call it a server, but we have all these different like groups in there where it'll have different categories. We have people asking questions, people chatting in there, but also I put a lot of extra videos in there. So a lot of the students they have questions, and so like each month we'll do a special video with kind of like the most requested topic. So put extra videos in there besides just the kind of like the move of the month kind of thing. So it's definitely worth it because just because of that, because we have so much functionality there now, so we can be kind of interacting more in real time, which is really great, and I think that just provides so much value. But anyway, so let's go and get to today's subject, which speaking of value, it's like what is really the value and the role of having a coach? And I said that is one of the most invaluable things, in my opinion, because having a coach in my life, like actually one of the main differences, I think it reminds me of when I was a kid, is that I did Little League Baseball for a couple years. And so the first year I had, one coach, and this person, even though it was baseball and not wrestling, this person really seemed to build like community amongst all the players. We spent a lot of time together anyway, training. But it seemed like this coach was able to get everyone to work together as a team, and it was ultimately a great experience. I felt like I was able to like focus on the game, and I was able to hit the ball well, far, and get on base all the time and stuff. Um, but then the second year, had this one coach that only cared about his son, right? So it's totally like this thing where it's just all about his own kid, and guy couldn't care less about the other kids, and like our team like just didn't do well at all, and like I think it just like morale was just not there. So like just the it's almost like just with the coach itself, it just it makes or breaks a team. And you see that a lot, like even in other sports where, say at UCLA, we have like this really famous coach, John Wooden. We named our gym after him, where I teach catch wrestling and kickboxing there. He was really similar to Coach Dan Gable out of Iowa. In their respective sports, they were able to create what we call, like dynasties, right? So it's like the teams under these coaches were just like so dominant that they were able to win the collegiate championships in their sports, whether it be so for John Wooden it was basketball, Dan Gable of course wrestling. So they were able to win the national titles like year after year. Right? So like what like why is that, right? So I think that just is a testament to like showing how important coaching is, right, to the success of athletes in the sport or the success of teams, right? So why are we going to talk about it? Actually, I brought up this really cool thing from Team USA. So it's kind of more of a general thing. So it is like from our USA athletics, just in general, talking about coaching and the role of coaches. So let me go ahead and read you this. So this is directly from Team USA, the role of a coach. So a great coach, well, actually, let's go ahead and start from the beginning. So I'll read you this whole paragraph. Because the coach is the vital component for athletes who succeed and attain their goals. A great coach will serve many roles: technical supporter, motivator, leader, psychologist, and maybe most importantly, as a role model for the athlete to follow in competition as well as out. Right. So let's go ahead and kind of break it down because it's not just someone who teaches you how to play a game, right? It teaches you well, like it teaches you all the aspects of playing a game, basically, and a lot of these aspects are some that you can take with you in your day-to-day life, right? Uh, so not only do they teach you, of course, the rules of whatever game you're playing, right, and the techniques and stuff like that. So like for wrestling teaches you all the different um, fundamental techniques, the different mat wrestling takedowns, whatever pins and stuff, submission holds, whatever. Um, but they have to go beyond that, right? So not only beyond in the way when we talk about like game planning, where say like if you have a big match and if you guys can scout out whatever opponent you may have or whatever opposing teams you might have, you try to. So your coach should be able to help you to kind of like pick out what like the strengths of other teams are and how to exploit them or how to undermine these different strengths so that you guys can win. But beyond that, even it's this whole idea of say like mindset or psychology or motivator. So not only do they have to like get you to like, want to compete, but they have to help you mentally to be able to compete well in high pressure situations. And that's kind of one of the big uh, important roles that a coach would have. And definitely one that's hard for a lot of people to do well. So it's one of the things that we kind of talk about like with these legendary coaches. So like with regards to John Wooden at UCLA, it's like this guy had so many like almost like truisms, kind of like all these different quotes that he would tell people and his athletes, but they really help the psychological aspect of each student, so or each athlete. So we even have around campus a lot of the different things that he would say, like all these different quotes that are written like all around the gym. And we have statues to him, and we have a lot of his quotes that really help like, people to just kind of like almost like relax, and so um, like, to almost to make it so you can just try your best when you're competing, right? Or when you're training and stuff like that. So you don't think of like the sport or like that one match being the end of the world. It is like it is your uh, it is like your time to have fun. It's your time to show what you've learned, but it's not your time to just like crumble under pressure or even to necessarily feel pressure because again, it's just a game. It's a great, it's fun. It should be fun, right? So the coach should be there to support you, right? Teach you how to win, right? But also teach you how to get out of your head so much where you're not just increasing the amount of pressure in your in your in your mind so that you're able to perform when you need to. So that's one of the most important things that a coach can do. And then actually, let's go and go back to the Team USA thing. So this is like maybe most importantly, the role of the coach is to be like a role model. Right? So, and actually, I think actually even more so John Wooden than Dan Gable even because like what I understand of Dan Gable. So maybe we can think of okay. So what I understand of Dan Gable is like he was a little bit more of a stricter guy, and so I think he did so well winning an international competition that his students wanted to just they just don't they want to live up to him like his ideals, and so they didn't want to disappoint him. So they tried very hard and they performed, right? But uh, what we have nowadays, right? Is like in collegiate wrestling, we have Penn State doing very well, and their coach Cale Sanderson kind of took the ideas of Dan Gable, but he actually employs more of like the whole mindset, attitude, at least based on what I've seen in like different interviews and stuff. So he really tries to make sure that the psychological aspect, the mental support is there for the students. They try to have fun. You know, they don't just try to get like overtrained or you know they don't. He's not putting so much pressure on them, and that seems a lot similar to the whole John Wooden aspect with UCLA, where he's about kind of like training the mind, training the student how to not only play but how to relax and how to be present and enjoy the sport. Same thing with Cale Sanderson, and then you know so Penn State's doing extremely well in collegiate wrestling. You know UCLA, we don't have John Wooden right now, so we're doing all right in basketball, but it's not quite like Kale uh, or Penn State in wrestling. So I kind of wanted to go over that because if you're coaching or if you're an athlete and your coach isn't really supporting you, if they're really being negative or if they're talking bad about other students, uh, even in front of them or behind their back or something like that. If you're not feeling motivated to go train, uh, then you know maybe you can try going to a different coach or see if there's one available. Because everyone has different styles, but you know, like having like a meaner coach, whatever might be what you think you need, but might not always be what you need, right? So and coaches don't always have to be like these really kind of aggressive, harsh people. A lot of the best coaches, the ones that are celebrated, are a lot more mild, a lot more calm. So I think that kind of goes back to the role of the coach, according to Team USA. The whole idea of like the coach being a role model for the athlete to follow in competition as well as out of competition. So that's kind of what uh, you want to emulate. So, or so like if you're a coach, you want to be that kind of like role model. You want to be that guiding force that helps the athlete to stay calm under pressure and perform under pressure. That's like these are kind of two different things. But the coach should be able to help with that. And so then you should be kind of like this leader, right? That the athlete wants to be like, right? Or at least some aspects of you they should want to be like, right? So think about that if you're a coach, but then also if you're an athlete still learning. Think about if you're getting your needs met, basically, because you could be missing some little aspects here and there on the coaching side. So your technical stuff might be good. You might be learning a lot. Uh, you might be able to beat a lot of people or submit a lot of people or pin a lot of people during training, but you might not be performing as well in competition. So think about that. Like say, because a lot of times that's just like the mindset aspect. So think about um, if your coach is helping you with that aspect, and you can kind of talk with them. If they can help you with that or not. There's also you can go into the whole sports psychology thing, but a lot of times your coach should be able to help you with that. So uh, maybe go to them first, right, and see if you're getting those kinds of psychological needs met, and then maybe you can think about like the sports psychologist later. But really, the coach should be there to help you. It's almost like the first line that should be able to help you with the whole mental aspect of the game. So, with that being said, I think these are kind of like the main aspects that I think of with coaches. Like me personally, I kind of break it down to three aspects. So, of course, they got to teach you technique, right? And then you can think of like the other kind of like once you're more advanced, when you're competing, then you can think of like them being able to help you with game planning for another team or another athlete or whatever if you have once you start competing, right? And then after that, then the other layer on top, because it's all kind of happening simultaneously, but it's kind of like the layer upon layer would be the whole aspect where they're helping you with the psychological aspect, the motivation aspect. They're leading you, right? They're helping you with your technique. Because a lot of times, like a beginner, you can think of it as just like a crude uh, or like a drawing that's like not, or a photo that's not in focus versus a blurry image. Or when someone first starts learning how to do techniques, or they're not doing everything so sharp, so that the coach should be able to help kind of bring everything into sharpness, into clarity, so you start doing the techniques better. Like say if you're doing some striking art, your punches get crisper, right? If you're doing catch wrestling, like your movements get sharper, smoother. You're not like leaving your arms out to get reversed and stuff like that. So um, these are the things that the coach is going to be helping me with, like bringing everything back into focus. But uh, on top of that is the mental aspect. But even on top of that is the coach himself should be someone that you want to emulate in a way. Like you don't have to be like them, of course, but like someone that helps you to feel comfortable in the training, helps you to not only learn but helps you to feel comfortable while you learn, helps you to feel motivated to come back and learn over and over again. It helps you to feel comfortable in competition. That you feel supported, that they're not only that they're there for you physically, right, but they're there for you mentally as well, helping you with all these different aspects. So a coach is like someone who's like a really complicated role or a really complex role. So not complicated, but complex. Right? And then you can even see this in uh, stories, right? So in movies and stuff like this, you can see like the importance of like a coach, right? In like helping someone to become their better self. Right? So one of the biggest things that people might think of, or the biggest examples, is like pretty obvious. It's like say in Star Wars, the original movies where we have like the guy Luke Skywalker who is like discovering how to become like a Jedi Knight, and then he needs to get trained a bit. So he's kind of discovering all these things and like learning here and there, but then it's not until he goes to a coach at Yoda, right? So he goes trains with him, and then that's when he kind of you know understands or sees his full potential, and then later he's able to fulfill his destiny as a Jedi Knight and all that. So you can think that there's actually a common thing that happens in storytelling a lot in a lot of movies. You'll start seeing this aspect. So the role of the coach is very, very important because again, like so we see it in movies, you see it in games. Like you have like the always like what the Lakers have, and I guess what the the Chicago Bulls would have Phil Jackson, like legendary basketball coach. Mentioning basketball coaches, just like UCLA, but it's like so these people are remembered as being successful coaches not only because of their ability to teach technique, but the ability to help the athlete in a more holistic way. So, um, coaching is important. So, I hope you find a good coach. Everyone who is coaching, try to strive to be a better coach. Right? Maybe even look into more uh, techniques, not only learning your sport. So I'm sure every coach really knows the technical aspects of the sport, like how to do the different moves and stuff, but maybe even better ways to uh, support your athletes, better ways to help motivate someone, help them to feel comfortable under pressure in big matches and stuff like that. These are things that a coach should want to kind of like look into to become a more high level coach. Yeah. So that being said, I'm going to leave it here. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them down in the comment. If you want to support us, please support our YouTube channel. You can become a member. We have a bunch of different extra videos there. If you want to learn live, come train with us in Los Angeles at High Science MMA. If you want to learn online and take advantage of our very cool uh, community there, our online community. It even has an app where we upload stuff, like upload videos and stuff like that. So that itself is really cool. I really love that. So you can always join there. We also have a lot of one-off video courses up there, so including like different pressure passing stuff. We even have like a Nogi judo course up there. So a lot of good stuff up there. So go ahead and feel free to check it out. It's all really appreciated. It goes into us having more and more events and stuff. So it helps keep real wrestling alive. So hopefully with all the techniques and stuff that we share, um, that can help elevate your grappling. Right? So it's not just the technique stuff, not just the technical stuff, but psychological stuff that needs to be present in order for you to really like fulfill your destiny as being a great athlete. Right? So hopefully we can help you with that. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and see you next time. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about in future podcasts. But we'll go ahead and end this one here. Thanks for listening.